subscribe to James the Sheriff Dixon, you motherfuckers.
And alright, this is Fun Times with the Sheriff, Season 2, Episode 3, and I'm with my film school teacher, Reid. You want to say hi?
Hey, Sheriff, it is good to be back in the new year, man. Good to talk films and life with you.
So tonight we're going to talk about Quentin Tarantino. So is there a specific one you want to start off with?
Yes, indeed. Quentin Tarantino, actually, it's kind of funny. We got a Michigan connection here. He got involved in film. He was really into Elmore Leonard, who was a fellow Michigander writer, and he got busted for stealing one of his novels from Kmart back in the day. I mean, Quentin Tarantino didn't start off like, rich and famous and stuff. So, but as punishment, his mom said, hey, you can't go, hang out with your friends and stuff like that. I want you to go to this theater camp type of place. And that's where he got the bug of acting and performing and directing and stuff like that. But yeah, long way to make a point. I guess one of my favorites. I mean, I just respect his body of work just simply because of the fact he didn't start off, with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
But Django was pretty good. I mean, I can't really pick one. I mean, I'm a fan of the different ones that he's done. So yeah, he's just got talent. He really works hard at his craft. So I really couldn't nail it down on one.
So if you just want to talk about one, we could just jump right into my favorite, Jackie Brown.
Let us talk about Jackie Brown, and you can definitely tell cinematically this is a Quentin Tarantino picture because he always focuses on like the small little details. Like I noticed, like when Pam Grier was putting her car in the park, you've got an extreme close-up shot of the transmission or the gear shift or that type of thing, or when she was like rolling down the window.
Sam Jackson with the screwdrivers.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's one of the things that I really kind of appreciate is about those kind of attention to details. They're really kind of help build the story or build the tension. So, but yeah, that was evident in his movie and the ending part in the mall where he's got the different scenarios that air out.
The different type of endings, yeah.
Yeah. That's only a Tarantino thing. So you really got to kind of follow it along. And, trust me, there's a couple of times where I'm like, oh man, I really got to process this again and watch it again to really understand where he's coming from. But yeah, he's very stylistic. So.
And then a strong female lead for like an '80s type of movie too.
Yeah. That was kind of a throwback to the '70s and the kind of little semi-black exploitation movement of the '70s that highlighted those of color in those kind of roles and action movies and such. But more so, it had another storyline to it as well. But yeah, kind of a throwback ode to that by casting one of the black exploitation female leads, Miss Pam Grier. So she was in that movement or in a big actress at that time. So.
And there's nothing more to say than that. We can jump right into Django because that's along the lines of that too.
Yeah, that has to do with race, for sure. The storyline itself, the use of the N-word and all that kind of good stuff. That's very Samuel Jackson saying it. And even before that, I mean, we all know that Samuel Jackson's character, him just being very loud and I talk like this all the time because this is how I talk, that type of thing. But
he's kind of like a superhero in that movie, though, the Django.
Yeah, he's definitely buddy with Leonardo DiCaprio. So that's literally his boy. But yeah, I think it was great acting for all of the characters kind of involved. One thing I was just doing some research in regards to Leonardo DiCaprio. He said in an interview. In order for it to really work, he had to be the most despicable kind of ruthless kind of character. And Jamie Foxx and Samuel L. Jackson and Kerry Washington were like, hey, in order for this to be believable, you really got to go there. And I think he really went there in regards to his character.
There were a lot of scenes where he got injured and he actually went on through while filming a lot of these movies.
Yeah. So the one scene where he smashes his hand up against the bar and the stem of the glass goes in his hand, and he's still going, but at the same time he's bleeding. He doesn't realize it until he
Yeah,
looks at his hand and he's
until they were
bleeding.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when they kind of cut production for the day. So obviously they can send up take care of Leonardo DiCaprio. But yeah, definitely. I mean, he really went all in terms of being despicable. But yeah, it was just his chance to kind of just method acting at its finest in a way. Yeah, but it was the storyline is something that needed to be told. It comes from a very kind of honest standpoint in terms of what was going on in history at that time and how people of color, black folks, were not seen as equals and seen as less than human. But one man's redemption or way to kind of revolt up against that. So, and those things actually did happen.
Again, another familiar movie, like you said, Hateful Eight. You can jump right into that because that Hateful Eight isn't within that same spectrum.
Yeah, Hateful Eight. I think it's pretty cool that, in the word of authenticity, he does have a lot of. He has Samuel L. Jackson. And
pretty much all of his movies.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of folks don't know, in the Wild Wild West, a lot of black folks were cowboys. So again, a big nod to Tarantino and his authenticity for casting those who were black. Who was it? The Millie character, I think. I forgot her name.
The one that was the prisoner. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, there a lot of black folks were in the West after slavery. They decided to go off and start their own. Away from the southern roots and stuff like that. So again, a nod to him. But also Quentin Tarantino being kind of obscure with the whole scene where he's got the guy on his knees and he's walking in the snow and all that kind of stuff, and he's so he's serving up Samuel L. Jackson. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's a little stretch for me, but it is what it is. So yeah.
I'm just looking up here. Then we got he talked about Kill Bill. You said that's one of your favorites.
Yeah. That was definitely, in regards to the action, to me, that was, the storyline was, it's pretty cool, but I was more taken back by the cinematography and how he uses, like, certain cinematography tricks, like when Uma Thurman and Vivica Fox are fighting, right before the Uma Thurman's child comes home from school, and we get to see the school bus in the background. So
it's her living room.
Yeah, exactly. So and she's got the Cheerio, the cereal boxes and stuff like that. And,
that's like the first. That's the only thing he ever did a sequel on was that Kill Bill one, I believe, too.
Yes. Kill Bill 1 and 2. That was 2003. Then in 2004, a lot of folks, they like the fighting and the blood and all that kind of stuff. They couldn't get enough of it.
When she's fighting all those Japanese people with the sword.
Yep. And Uma Thurman's get the ode to Bruce Lee with the yellow and black jumpsuit when Bruce Lee actually wore that when he fought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in not Enter the Dragon. I cannot remember the name of the movie. But it's kind of a throwback. And Uma Thurman wearing that warm-up jumpsuit, the same one that Bruce Lee wore, the same style when he fought Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the basketball player. I think what's brilliant about that movie in regards to Tarantino and Kill Bill and a lot of his movies is he makes his own props. So he doesn't wait really for clearances, like if he's going to use, like with the cereal thing, for example. He's not going to try and go out after General Mills and such to get their approval to use their product. He made up, Oreos or whatever the name of the cereal was.
He makes up his own stuff.
Yeah, which saves you a lot of, from a producing standpoint, that saves you a lot of time and a lot of money. I mean, because you don't have to worry about paying clearances and stuff like that, waiting on a decision for people to say, hey, we'll give you permission to use our product. That takes time, and time is money when you're shooting. So he takes another route. You get with the art department and you create, these brands like Oreos, and he had like cigarettes in Pulp Fiction, cherry wood cigarettes or something. I can't remember the name of it, but that's pretty ingenious. I think that's pretty smart. So
to talk about Pulp Fiction, I just want to say the similarities between Jackie Brown and Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, they're definitely definitely kind of how the story is mapped out. There are parallels, like you get the interaction with the De Niro character in like Samuel Jackson, and then like you get Samuel
John
Jackson
Travolta's character.
and John Travolta, but also there's the Bruce Willis element that you know, and Zed and Zed's dead and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So it all melts together in some way, somehow. You just got to follow the bouncing ball of Tarantino plots and actions and twists and stuff. So it doesn't always sink in on the first time, but it definitely makes you think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like I said earlier, one of my favorites is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which like what we were just talking about is the different take on the Manson murders. So I know you said you haven't seen that one, but I just want to touch up on that because that's one of my favorites. It's about they do dive into filmmaking and all that. So
Yeah. I haven't seen all of it. I've only seen like bits and pieces, like where DiCaprio's got the flamethrower and the chick in the pool, you know, got the gun and you know he fries her in the pool like you know, piece of fish.
That's the ending. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely his take on the Manson murders and Roman Polanski's girlfriend and her being murdered and the her whole clique being victims as well. So yeah, but you know it's art imitating or imitating life. So and you have that kind of right to do that. So yeah, that was his take on the situation.
And you were saying you said you knew somebody that
Well, coincidentally, in real life, the gentleman who was Roman Polanski's girlfriend, the actress, I can't remember her name, her hairstylist, he actually went to the same high school, coincidentally, that I did. Not at the same time, but he actually went to the same high school that I did. So it's funny how things turn out. After high school, he graduated, just changed his name, moved to LA, he was a hairdresser for the stars. So, but unfortunately, he passed the night along with everyone else in Roman Polanski's house.
okay, I'm just doing a double check of the. I think we pretty much covered everything. Oh, Inglorious Bastards. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen that one. Let me take a look here right fast. So,
Inglorious Bastards is I've seen that one. It's with Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, Eli Roth, Diane Kruger. No, I have not seen that one there, Sheriff. It's something I got to check out. But I guess, yeah, there are certain things that, as a filmmaker, even if it's not your cup of tea, you really have to be aware of what's out there and what's creating the buzz. This is kind of case in point when Tarantino, even if you're not a fan of his work, or you know, he's got his own style, which is fine.
Yeah, he put himself out there. Yeah.
Yeah, you still gotta know what's going on, because you never know what kind of other elements of storytelling or filmmaking can be borrowed from. I mean, like with me and the cinematography thing, and how I like his way of choice of cinematography styles in Kill Bill. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, you can always learn something from him. But yeah, it's always this evidence to say, hey, you know, you got to check out what's out there. You know, you make time for it and that type of thing. And obviously, I think a lot of people enjoy his stuff. His storylines are, again, they all have a different way in which they're told, but people enjoy them. He likes blood and gore and that type of thing. That's like his.
Like I was saying earlier, all of his movies pretty much have a violent ending.
Yeah. They do have a violent ending, and people kind of like that dark violence and the amount of blood that's being used and all that kind of stuff. That's just how that's his mechanism. I think another thing too, just speaking of Tarantino, he's a big fan of shooting on like 35 millimeter. He's not very digital HD, you know, that's not his thing. As he was growing up or coming up, he used to go to a theater that specialized in that thing. They had like movies that were shown on 35 millimeter, and when he got enough money, he actually bought the theater. And to this day, he screens movies again of that same vein, more so art house type of movies. And he really doesn't want to go into like the digital divide.
His films are made for almost all of his films are made for 30 millimeter. Yeah. He doesn't like what happened.
Right, he doesn't. Now he says that he's going to retire because of the lack of 35ness. I know that's not a word, but the shooting on 35 and telesending your footage and things of that nature. But time will tell. But you know, you never know. He may say, "Hey, yeah, I'm done with it. I've had my run," and he's been around, you know, since technically like '83 is when he got his first break.
Yeah.
He would so. He kind of rose to prominence. He was on an episode of The Golden Girls where he was an extra. He was an extra, and these extras were playing Elvis impersonators. And from there, he was able to get residual checks because that was part of the Golden Globes like DVD release and stuff like that. So he was getting money from that. And he didn't act. He's just, you know, looking like Elvis. So he's just sitting there and he's singing and stuff. But he didn't have any lines specifically. But yeah, so. It's just amazing how people kind of start off. There's no one way that you can kind of enter the entertainment world. There are different ways you can go about doing it. Even taking classes at, you know, or programs at Oakland University, where some people I know have gone. So yeah. But I mean, overall, like I said, I respect him a lot, just because of the fact that he really didn't go to a film school. He didn't have an opportunity to know anyone in the business, so he just kind of said, "Hey, I'm gonna learn as much as I can to put myself out there, to hone my craft, take the initiative. And, you know, I'm not gonna let people come to me. I'm gonna go to them." And he literally did that, made a name for himself. So you gotta respect that.
All right. Well, we can end it early. We've done that before, so that's final thoughts on it. Do you have anything you want to promote or anything, or say anything?
No, I'm just happy. I'm just ecstatic. I'm back here with the sheriff in 2021, and you know, just again, I'm proud of you, man, for what you're doing, and just keep on at it. In terms of making content, that's what it's all about. Even in the pandemic, I see it's not slowing you down. You're taking a page from Tarantino's playbook. You're pushing on, so it's all good.
Yeah. So I guess with that, this has been my guest Jay, and this has been Fun Times with the Sheriff, Season 2, Episode 3. I will see everybody in the next one. You want to say goodbye?
Bye, guys. Take care out there. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Social distance.
Right. I just want to shout out an amazing channel, James the Sheriff Dixon. Oh, he's such a great guy, and he is super cool for coming to the show. I'm glad I got to meet him in person, and you should subscribe.